Hey guys, what voices are influencing and impacting your life? What voices are drawing you one way or another? What messages are getting into your head and into your life? This is a fascinating thing to think about, which most of us don't really pause and think about it very much. Like, hey, what voices are influencing me? What messages are influencing me? But we live in a time where we are bombarded by messages all the time. And this is another one, right? This is another voice, another message. We get advertisements all day long, clever marketers, like constantly from walking through the store, catching marketing strategies, to driving along the freeway, billboards, to commercials on TV or on the radio, to advertisements in our Instagram feed, but then messages from our friends, from society, from all over. There's so many voices coming at us from every angle. And it's fascinating to stop and think, which voices are impacting me? And even to go another level and say, what messages are coming at me constantly that I don't even realize are subtle messages or blatant messages, but I'm not aware of it. You guys are all familiar with the parable of the Good Shepherd, right? And a good shepherd actually will speak to his flock, and you can still see this in in remote places around the world. I've seen it as I've traveled around the world, but it definitely was much stronger generations ago. But a shepherd would speak to the flock, and they knew his voice. They were familiar with his voice, and he would call to them, and they would come, and he would lead them. He'd walk in front of them and go left or right, and they'd follow him. Contrast that with the sheep herder that has his dogs nipping their heels, or uses a whip or something, or a horse, and is driving them. Now take that message right there and look at what's happening in our lives today. There are people who are gently calling to us, and we get familiar with that voice, and they're trying to lead us. And then there are voices of people who are trying to manipulate and persuade and push and drive. It reminds you of the whole idea of the bread and circuses, right? Those politicians back at near the end of the Roman Empire, they wanted to control the populace. They wanted them to become very docile so they could tell them what to do without any fight back, right? Any resistance. And so they fed them, they came up with the philosophy, the idea of bread and circuses. Make sure they have food and cheap entertainment, and they will become docile and not resist, and they'll do exactly what you tell them to. And so clever marketers and other messages are just bombarding our heads. So what are some of the voices that are influencing us and influencing our kids? Well, there's voices of commercialism, right? And think about this, like, you have to buy this in order to have like image or status, or if your life's going to be happy, you have to have these things. And so we filled our lives with stuff. I have some videos on my YouTube channel about minimalism and essentialism. I posted years ago, and there's just something wonderful about simplicity. And look how they've turned like holidays into these big marketing strategies. Christmas is this massive marketing thing now, where it used to be simple. So there's voices of commercialism. There's voices of seduction, trying to draw us into base lasciviousness and lusts and inappropriate behaviors, right? Those voices drawing us in, and man, those are bombarding. And the whole pornography industry is that. There are voices of whining and complaining that are becoming more and more prevalent, and people are having a hard time like stepping up and doing hard things, because there's this constant complaint of, oh, it shouldn't be that hard, life should be easy, this isn't fair, I don't want to do hard things. That's, anytime we're whining because it's uncomfortable or inconvenient, there's a voice of wimpiness that's calling out to a lot of us and to a lot of our children. There are voices of contention and anger and violence. You think about that. The voice of contention that comes out in road rage and home rage. in every part of our lives where there's this fighting and bickering. And when you have that contentious voice, like it is all consuming. It gets in our heads, it gets in our hearts. We can't shake loose from those feelings. That's a bad one. There's a voice of horror and fear and scarcity is another one, right? Scarcity versus abundance. There's this voice of scarcity that makes us afraid of the scarcity. But then back to scary voice, right? Look at how much violence and horror is coming out in media. And it is having an effect. Please don't ever think that these voices are not having an effect. These messages are getting in our heads. And that is one of the reasons why so much of anxiety is just off the charts, and fear. It's getting in our heads and in our hearts. And so these messages, you guys, are coming from music. I mean, just recently, a friend of mine, just out of curiosity, pulled it up, looked at the top 100 most popular songs on iTunes. 97 of them were explicit. What messages are we getting? Foul mouth and foul thinking, and trying to normalize very inappropriate behavior. And this isn't in a religious context. This is just proper human behavior. Study the courses of humanity. Study what's his name? The Story of Civilization. Will Durant. Study Durant. See what he studied. He was a human. He wasn't religious at all. And he's like, look at societies. This is what works. This is what doesn't. And the messages of the things that don't work, that bring down the downfall of societies, those are the things that are being normalized and even promoted in movies and music. So, we got to step back and say, what message is subtly or blatantly being pushed into our lives and our kids' lives? And scrolling on media and screen addiction, the constant flow of voices and noises and messages. And my message today is you guys, we gotta increase our filter. We gotta raise our filter, set this up so that we are solid and can know which voice to listen to, which voice to recognize, which voice to follow, and which voice to flee from. And back to the parable of the Good Shepherd. So the sheep know the voice of the Good Shepherd and follow him, and they flee from the voices of the strangers that would lead them to destruction, right? Whoa, what a great message. So I want to share this with you guys. Please be keenly aware. Pay attention today of all the different messages and all the different voices that are out there. And are they bringing value to your life? Are they leading you in the right direction? Just take inventory. Raise that filter. If you've got messages coming in that are not congruent with your own standards and your own values, if you've been watching movies or shows or listening to music or having conversations or spending time with people that aren't top-notch, if they're not up there where you want to go, then have the courage and discipline to eliminate those voices and messages from your life and just listen to those voices that are helping you become your very best self. Man, this will make a huge, huge difference. It is totally impacting your life and your family, I promise. It can't not. I know that's a double negative, but it can't not. These messages, they have their effect. Input determines output. So let's level the filter. Let's get in there and make sure we're filling our lives with great messages, and then we're passing them on, being a force for good to spreading good messages and good voices in the world. Get out there, make it happen, my friends. Reach upward.